All right. Thank you, Mbabs. Now we should have audio. Most of the early stuff you could probably have read on the screen. So just to go back, I started off by saying that we're going to put the bulls to work for us. We're going to make them do the work for us. And I'm going to talk about that throughout the show today, and I do every day anyway. Then I talked about the contest. Be sure to register for this down below. There is $5,000 in real Bitcoin and prizes to win. I have clicked on it. Wanted to say thank you for the people who are supporting this channel. Put up the disclaimer, and bang, we're into these charts to find out what is going on. Eric, good to have you along. Glad to have the audio fixed. Thank you, Mbabs. I think there are 3 or 4 different places to set the audio, so there's always one of them that's a mess. So now we're into the charts, and we're looking at Bitcoin here on the 1 hour bars. We're looking at Ethereum on the 1 hour bars, Ethereum US dollar. We're looking at Litecoin US dollar here, and we're looking at Stellar Lumens US dollar on the 1 hour bars. All 4 of them have come to the point of a triangle earlier today, and it's just been dragging out. It could be going up. It might be going down. But when all 4 of these decide and they all go the same way, we know that it's going to help us whichever way it goes. If it goes down, it's just going to take longer to go to the bull trend. If it goes up, then we're good to go. Hey, Mutz 705, good to have you here. Yes, a contest, and I'm going to be doing more of these trading contests. We're going to do specific trading contests on a specific coin, and long and short contests, so that it's not just buy and hold. It's not just lucky you picked one coin, put all your money into it, and you luckily got the best return on your contest money. It's going to be skill, so that you'll have to buy and sell your way to the best. Now we'll come back and we'll check these prices, because this is live stuff going on right now, and breaking out of these triangles either direction is really important. So we're seeing kind of a divergence here. 3 of them looking like they're going red, 1 looking like it's going green. But of course, the purpose of this show is to go through all of the cryptocurrencies and to see if they're bullish or bearish. We have a specific criteria that we go through. If you're new to the show, be sure to click the thumbs up button, or press on the subscribe button, so that you get to know when the next show comes out. So we have 3 different criteria, and you can go over to the website and get those for free. You can go to IntroToCryptos.ca and register. You can get the free chapter to my book. It's the most important chapter in the book. And you also get a copy of this Bull Market Watch spreadsheet, which is, I think it's incredibly handy if you are reviewing the markets yourself on your own time. So when you get that PDF download, it's not complicated. We're talking about 3 different criteria that we look for. The break of the downtrend. So you look at 2 different tops or 3 different tops, and you draw a trend line. And if you have prices come and break that, you know that the beginning of the the change of trend is upon you. The second thing that we're looking at is the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So the number 1, 2, 3 is a really simple pattern. It's part of the head and shoulders formation. It is part of the Elliott wave pattern. It is called by many names because it is at every single different change of trend. It has to happen. It is always there. It will always be there. And so when you're watching for it, you can find the change of trend. It's easy. It just takes a lot of patience. So you find the lowest price. It goes down. This could have been the number 1, and we did have a fake out breakout there. We talk about those risk control rules inside our course and inside our alerts package. But this is a number 1. This is a number 1. Then we had the number 2 here and the number 3. So prices hit the lowest price. They come up. They come down and they try to go lower, but they fail. So another name for this is a failed retest of a recent low. So this is the recent low. This is the failed retest of that recent low. When prices break above the number 2 point, that is a buy signal. So that's our whole trading plan, except that I forgot to mention that we also look for the exponential moving averages to cross over to positive. So we're looking for those three things: the break of the downtrend line, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation breakout, and the moving average crossover. Those three things put together constitute our trading signal. Put that together with your risk control rules and your position sizing, and you've got a complete trading plan, like part of a complete breakfast type of thing. So anyway, Ardor passed all of our criteria, and it's a hold. That the green means that it passed all those three criteria. And for a long time, it had only passed 2 of the 3 criteria. So it was an alert for a long time where there's nothing to do but watch it, getting ready. Then it turned into a hold, something to actually do. Doom, 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 doom. All right, now. No, I did not fix the spreadsheet yet to include other coins and fix the order of things, but basic attention token remains a hold. Now that we are up into the hold territory for many of these coins, the next thing I'm watching for, just like when prices are going down, I'm looking for the bottom formation. I'm a contrarian, so it's going down, I'm looking for the bottom. If it's going up, I'm looking for the top. So now that this is going up, I'm looking for a top formation. Wow. Thank you, GBU Professor Wally. Where's the screen? I got to get a screen capture of this when it comes up. 3, 2, 1. Come on now. Print screen. Beautiful. Thank you, Professor Wally. Love it. Really. Professor Wally is talking about the course that is coming up. Registration is coming up soon, another 2 weeks. And we have the alerts package that you can sign up for at any time. Hey, Send Crypto, good to have you along. Basic attention token. Okay, it is a hold. But I'm watching for the top formation. We're looking at the 1-day view, so let's zoom into the 12-hour BR. Well, it's probably not a top formation yet by the size of these. By the size of these big green candles, it's probably not a top formation yet. By what I know about the project, this is probably not a top formation yet. By the way that these candles are strong, and then we have a little bit of ease and then strength, you know, it's probably not a top formation yet. But that's what I'm watching for now, is this kind of failure out of these levels. So now I'm seeing a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3 top formation. But if it breaks above these levels, then it turns into a trend continuation formation, and it's time to add on to that trade. A whole different strategy than the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. But we are now coming out of 1, 2, 3 bottoms. We're running out of them. Pretty much everything has made its 1, 2, 3 bottom and has broken out above that. So now our strategy is different. Now we're like, when do we get out? When do we get out? When do we add on? How do we make more after things have already taken off? This is where we are in our stage of trading now, where it's a different stage of the trend. Bancor network token. Probably a hold. It's not pretty, but it's a hold. If I go to a longer term, yeah, it's good to have a little piece of it. You know, just it's turning forward to a bullish. It's not saying it's a buy or anything. It's just it's turning bullish. Now, BCH, I'm not a fan of either one of them, and I didn't do any research to not be a fan of them for it, but it's making a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and breaking above it. So that's all I need. There's the signal right there, and it turns it into a hold for our categorization here. BCHSV, same thing. I may not like it, but or I may not have a preference for it because I'm not educated about it, but the chart formation looks like it's warming up. With Bitcoin going and this warming up, okay, it's already marked as a hold. I'll just continue on. BCN, okay. Where are my glasses? BCN. This is going to go somewhere. And it's great percentage gains when you go up 1 Satoshi in this coin. You know, this is fantastic. From 17 to 22 is just great percentage gains. So it's looking bullish. I'll leave it as a hold right off that formation. I got Bitcoin as a bullish hold, do I? Well, part of me says that's right, but part of me says that's still a little premature. For this trading plan, it's supposed to be more reserved. But the moving averages have crossed over. We are on the 12-hour bar. Yeah, I would have to say it is bullish, but part of me wants to wait until it actually breaks above these levels because it could bounce there for such a long time. I'm going to put it back to an alert status. It's still bullish, but not quite as bullish. I think I was a little early on that. I don't know. You know, flip a coin on that one. It's your own risk control decision on something is that close. Over time, it won't matter. Like it's splitting hairs. This is a great chart. This is a beautiful chart. We've had lots of time to look at this and to admire it and check out the curve of this chart and this little dimple right here. It's fantastic. Then we're zooming in. We've had lots of time to see all of these big buying volume and we've had lots of time to prepare for this one. Burst. Oh, I thought it would do more. Actually, it's still neutral. Clam. Clam. This is what I'm talking about shopping for top formations as soon as things are going up. Look at me talking about the big candles of buying in bit shares, but this topped out and did a massive retracement here, and it topped out fast. So let's observe this top out. So we had an accelerating rise, and then it broke that accelerating rise. We had and after massive volume here, one of the biggest candles of volume is the exhaustion candle. And then down it came. So what day was this? The 14th. Here comes a fire truck. There was some great moves on the 12th as well. We saw in Civic Coin, or we'll see next in Civic Coin. It popped up on the 12th. I'll just quickly, here's Civic Coin. It popped up on the 12th and is pulled back. So Clam was going up on the 12th, but it popped up on the 14th and it's really pulled back. Let's zoom in some more. 1 week view. And let's pull the chart back. Can I do this No. Okay, 3-day view. It did a big move, consolidated, and then broke that fast. Not much warning. You really had to be awake and aware for this one, and likely studying your indicators as well, and really be on top of this. Let me clear that off. For my own part, I sold out right there. Bought in here, sold out there, as I saw the consolidation. So that turned into a pretty good trade, and then I took that money and I put it into Ripple. Pretty nice. And we'll see what's going on with Ripple now. So Clam turns into a cold fish. I don't remember the number or the letter for that. What is the letter for that? Cold fish. Exit. E. So if I type E here, then it turns blue. We'll count those up afterwards. That's interesting. Now it's important to see the date on those too. Wow, this hasn't done anything compared. 3-month view. So anyway, this is still a hold in the position that it is. And anything that moves up and then stays above the number 2 point of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, if it breaks up and it stays above that, that's all good. This is all bullish. Even if it dips just slightly below, I'm still, giving it some elasticity. So this is all still good for a hold. Let's continue on and go and look at Dash. Oh, Dash is staging up and is going to be going more stages up. There's some really amazing coins here. This is just like Christmas time or kid in a candy store. Look at these. Beautiful. Beautiful chart. Decreed, also beautiful, but not quite as nice as Dash, but very nice here. Now that we've got a double bottom, we've got some big candle whisks to the upside. Prices have, what have I got going on here? Prices have moved sort of above the support and resistance, and they're holding there. So strength off of that would be very good. That would be a very bullish place to be buying. That's basically the breakout out of this bottom formation right now as we're setting up. So even though we've got it marked as a hold already, it's a beautiful alert position right now too. Wonderful chart. Digibyte. So if you're finding any of this helpful at all, your fee for that, these tips is a thumbs up. If you haven't already, click on the subscribe button. I appreciate that as well. Definitely. Let's get more people involved and more people can make money out of this. These are simple things, but you got to practice them for them to be able to work for you when the working is good. You got to be patient with them like we had to be through all of 2018. But if you were patient and you stayed ready, then you are here at these moments when we identified this exact moment in Digibyte, called it. There we go. Off and off and off we go. Hold. Absolutely love it. And another one that is I'm very excited about is Dogecoin. I can't market it a hold yet, but in my mind it's a hold. This is so close to a hold that it will be right away. And interesting for me, where is that? I've got too many. I don't know, somewhere I've got Poloniex opened up and I'm watching to see how many. I'm watching the order book. Hey, wait a second. Now I've got the order book right here. I always forget this. 20 Bitcoin worth. Is that correct? 20 Bitcoin worth of orders here. And then 9 is the next one. 4, 5, 4, 6. So just looking at the depth of available coin. When Bitcoin starts to run up, I'm thinking that this is going to be swamped right away. And this is what I'm watching. Is this order book above Dogecoin right now. And when I see the orders flowing in like water pouring over a broken dam, I'm thinking prices are going to run up, and it might be a time to grab my surfboard just for the entertainment value and the sheer fun of it. Dogecoin. EOS. We already looked at this one. Of course, every day we're looking at these, and we're talking about this having poked its nose above the old support and resistance levels. Now it's sort of nestled in there and got its own support, and moves above this level would be very wonderful. We've been holding this one for a while because we identified this consolidation and marked it as a hold right from way back here, and there's no letting go of that. This is a great one to be holding on to. All right, now you're here right now. You're here right now. You're going to paper trade this. You're going to write it down on the back of a receipt that you have to do your taxes with or something next year. A little piece of paper you're going to grab. You're going to grab a pen and you're going to scribble this down right now. You're going to paper trade this market with me. And we're going to look back later to see what percentage paper profits we made from this exact chart formation. It's still only an alert, but I would have taken my position right now. Well, I already did, but just that chart formation is something you gotta make it memorable. Here's another one that is really, it takes a long time to wait for a formation like this to shape up. Right? It does take a long time. They don't happen all the time. You look back all the way through the history of the chart, and not many times. So we're in a fortunate moment right now to be at such a moment when prices consolidate into such a point and take the time to consolidate into that point. This is really something. It's the biggest one all the way through, even bigger than this one here before the big drop. So when the move starts to happen, it's not going to be a small little stage. It's going to be significant out of this. And so we're in a very lucky time right now. Just amazing, actually. Factum. All right, Factum. Have you turned around and started to go the other way yet? Well, we've got more of a, where's my scribbling pen here? It gives me the slinky feeling, actually. It's not giving me the feeling of bouncing and turn around and going up yet. It's got to turn around and break past one of these levels and sit on top now for me. And then I would give this some more trust. But right now, it's fading off too much. It's not, even if it was to blast right off, maybe if I was paying attention, I might be able to take a small position on big volume right there. Might be even to paper trade it. But I've got it marked as a hold here. I'm going to move it back to an alert. Foam. Zoom in. Yeah, that stays a hold. It looks like it's got some momentum building up there. This is, I like the shape of that chart. Building and building and building and getting bigger candles as it goes ahead. Ooh. Game is building and a big ascending wedge triangle on huge accumulation candlesticks of buying. So the rule of thumb is, and I don't know who wrote the rule and whose thumb they used, but if you take this and you stand it up, that's what you can predict for your move. Depends on how big this setup is. That tells you how big the move up will be. I don't know how you can do that. I need a protractor or something, because every time I stretch this out, it starts to look bigger, and I've got to stretch this out to make it match. And when I zoom in, it doesn't fit, so who knows? Game is an alert, and it's going to take off. Gas, of course, this is a hold now. Just, it's huge. Like, this is such an opportunity. It's like every chart we look at is just an amazing moment right now. To be doing these charts and to capture these moments and to chart this out and come back later and get a screenshot of this is historic, really. It really is. This is a different pattern of a chart. And my eye likes it. We'll see how it turns out afterwards. We have it marked as a hold for a few days because it did break out of a bottom formation, and sure enough, okay, good enough. It matches the criteria. It's not quite as pretty as the others, but it matches. I'll skip grin, go right to Hunter Coin. It blasted through, so it turned into a hold. Okay, we had it as a hold just before it blasted through, so even better. Kyber Network Token. All right, so this one we were identifying out of these bottoms, and it blasted through, came back and retested. There's another that is beautiful, really classic. To come up and do this right here is, there's your moment that we talk about all over and over. I'm giving you these two because they happen over and over again, and the first one is a dirtier signal now. It's not as clean. It doesn't happen and move along as nicely because everybody else is doing it. So after the FOMO goes through and after the FUD goes through, then there's your moment. And wonderful. I love seeing specific examples that can talk about something that I've talked about. What to do if, and here's what. Oh, here's another. Love it. This is such a beautiful chart again. The larger that these have taken, the bigger they're going to go. Library credits. So I got to give that a hold over here. Am I lined up so you can see what I'm doing? Not very well, eh? There. Doom, doom, doom. Loom. Well, of course. It's still a hold. Of course. I said that like, of course. It's going up. Now, what as my eye does as soon as I see this, I'm looking for the top formation. So I'm drawing lines along the bottoms, the lows on the way up. So all the way up, as soon as I see these, this is a hard line for me. The longer it goes, the more important it gets. And often we'll see the retrace. So this is when you start to watch for tops as it's going up. What is your plan for the long term? Are you trying to trade something short term with this? You know, there's a whole bunch of variety. And as soon as I see these strong movements, my eye always draws this line on the chart. Let's go take a look at LPT, which is not in my charts, but is looking really great. Where does my eye go? You know it, right along this line. And then the other thing I look at is to say there is a pretty solid support right there where it burst up and hit that support and is showing strength. And I also see this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. So breaks above or below this level would be bad, but anything down to this level is all good. Not a problem. And that's how I read the chart if I was to be investing in it. And I don't have a place for that in the spreadsheet yet. Lisk, here's another one. This is even better. I haven't looked at this in a couple days. Come on now, give me the right tool. I haven't looked at this in a couple days. We were looking at this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation here, watching it tighten down into the smallest little consolidation, watched it as it break out, and now it's fantastic. Now we're sitting to where we could put our stop loss just above our entry so that we're guaranteed that our initial money that we put in is protected. Then we're sitting there on our hands and waiting for this to give us another consolidation to add on to it, because it's probably going to do something much, much bigger in the long term. But I want to add on as safely as possible so that I'm taking as least risk as possible. Because this has got such a long-term history at these exact levels, this is a whole nother buy scenario, as though this is a whole nother bottom formation here. So you could buy on the breakout, or you could anticipate that it's going to come back and retest these after it breaks out. After it punctures through, it's going to come back and retest these levels. And then it could be another place to be adding on. So if you had your initial position, that would be your add-on. Litecoin, beautiful. I'm going to zoom in on this one because I'm going to go to we are in the 12-hour views. 4-hour bar. Drag it back. Drag it back. December 11th to the 13th, 14th, 15th was giving us a bottom formation right there. And at this time we were watching all of the 1-hour bar 1, 2, 3 bottom formations and all of the 4-hour bar 1, 2, 3 bottom formations. And so we called this as an alert to say this was taking off as a trade, and we took it as a hold. And as prices went up, then we could see that Bitcoin followed along and made its own 1, 2, 3 bottom formation in the background here and also started its way up. But notice how Litecoin was ahead of Bitcoin by several days, and it has been leading Bitcoin since then. Now when I zoom back out, we can see that right out of that little wee bottom on the 11th to the 13th of December, that was it. We caught that, and we were able to put our stop loss just above our entry and just hang out. This was a real decision point as prices came to here. That was a tricky one. Is it going to top? Is it going to pull back? Is it going to continue on? So, of course, we can see what's happened. Now, we're continually watching for a top formation in this. Where does it pull back? This has gone on some really nice move. Is this going to hover sideways? Is it going to go further? If we go to the 5-year view, this is up pretty historically high all of a sudden, and Bitcoin is not near historical highs. So what is going to go on with Litecoin? How long will this go? We're certainly watching for top formations every day. When I zoom in on this, I go to the 1-week view now. I'm always watching for the top formation. I'm always looking for, is this a double top? Is this the break? Is this the shoulder and this now is the head? Are we making the head and shoulders top formation right now? Is this? You know, I'm constantly watching for this trend line to be broken now. This trend line to be broken. And to observe that and to know exactly when that happens, then you start watching the indicators to decide, is this the top? Is this when we are taking profits with part of our position? Continual watch now for these top formations, and we'll mark that in our spreadsheet as a cold fish when that occurs. MadeSafe coin on the 3-month view. It's recovering a little bit from these extreme lows. It's still neutral, but of course you know it's one of my favorite coins for the super long term. Mana taking off, looking great. This is a hold and looking like more of a hold. This is an ascending wedge triangle that I have been hopping all over the place about these ascending wedge triangles, but the moving average crossing over and expanding away from each other. Look at them getting more distance here. This is a beautiful chart. All of a sudden, I haven't looked at it in a couple days maybe, but look at the volume under here, and that is really going to go to the moon. Something's going on there. That's beautiful. Love it. There's another example where just like Digibyte, there was another one where we saw this consolidation of this huge list where it came down to these huge triangle. This one was a teaser. It came down for quite a while before finally breaking, and there's our entry point. Now we're just sitting, watching for what's going to happen with NAV. Let me go back and put that as a hold. Named coin. Let's see. Well, is that a hold or has that gone neutral? Has it gone into a cold fish status? Let's use this as an example. We're going to use the 4-hour moving average crossover. When that 4-hour moving average crossover crosses, we're going to turn that into a cold fish. And then we're going to study it afterwards with the 12-hour moving average crossover. And we're going to study them all this way to say when that 12-hour moving average crossover crosses, that's when we call it a cold fish for sure. And it's just for bullish and bearishness, not for trading signals. Let's go on to NXT. NXT, which is coming out of nowhere from this great downtrend in making a bottom formation and popping up there on some volume. It's all of a sudden turned itself into a hold out of nowhere. One of those come from behind markets that could make you huge profits and there's no way to know it. But anyway, this one's probably a little bit more likely. I like this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. I like how it's broken out. It's pulled back politely for those of us who have missed the train. If everything else is going up, so is this. If Bitcoin pulls back, though, this will pull back. Bitcoin and OMG are quite tied, or OMG is quite tied to what Bitcoin does so far. Omni has turned itself into a hold and is looking a little bit even more bullish there, so we'll keep its hold status. Pascal turned into a hold status just the other day because of this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation at the number 3 point of a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Beautiful, beautiful buy spot. Really beautiful. you know, draw that out. I recommend you draw out this chart pattern, the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation with the little 1, 2, 3 right at the number 3 point. Draw it out, think about it, memorize it, have lucid dreams about it. 1, 2, 3 bottom, starting to show strength here. I think this is going to go somewhere. I'm just going to leave it as a whole, an alert rather, and it'll turn into a hold when it starts to break above these levels. It is a 1, 2, 3. We are looking at the 1-day view, so when we get into the 12-hour bar, it looks better. The 4-hour bar looks even better, but kind of more extreme. So I like that it's got higher lows going on here. I like the volume stuff going on. Quantum. Blasted, pulled back, and is showing strength. This is probably going to stage and do something for a while. So it's a hold because it has blasted past these support and resistance levels and then held. So that shows that it's not a fake out breakout, not as likely to be a fake out breakout, more likely to be showing us some follow through. Rep is a better looking formation. I like this bowl shape here, but I like that it's consolidated the way it is, so that now if it were to break above this, it's so much more clean. It's so much more definite that you've hit it 3 times and then break above it. Bring into the coincidental fact that it is right at the same level as this, and just swinging the thing in the dark here to see from top to bottom, does it coincide with the Fibonacci levels? Pretty amazingly. So, but anyway, it's a hold. And looks like it's like easy to be able to identify what you could do with it if you were just approaching that market. This looks like it's continuing to be a hold. I think it's going to continue to go up higher too. It blasted out and pulled back and tested these levels. While it was very close, it didn't pierce down below them. So should it be starting to show strength from here, that'll be very good. Coin, I marked it as a hold yesterday, and sure, it probably should have gone a couple more Satoshi, but I'll leave it as a hold. SNT. This one, we were saying it's going to be a hold when it broke above this, but then, whoops, wrong tool. I just want to delete that one and keep the other. Then we identified this triangle pattern, or probably this triangle pattern. And then it took off about from there, so we're sitting pretty on a nice hold there with SNT. Looking bullish. Steam and storage are probably both looking bullish, so they're both looking great. Staging down, retesting these levels down here is great. Strength from there is going to be another add-on position. It's just looking really bullish. But of course, I'm skipping right past that potential top formation that just jumped out at my eye. We see 4 times off of these levels. Then we do see a 1, 2, 3 top formation in here. So prices came up to the highs. They came back. They retested, couldn't make the highs. And then they broke down below that very clearly. Now they have not come back up to break above that again. So this all of a sudden becomes a top formation. And that we are at old historical prices here makes this look like more of a top formation to me. As I go in here, if these prices come up here and bounce back down, they show weakness, that's top formation, and we'll have to pay attention to that. That could be our cold fish. So let me clear all that stuff off, zoom back into the 3-month view, so that we're looking at our 12-hour bars, so that I'm looking to see where are these moving averages now. Are they crossing over on the 12-hour bar view? They are crossing over on the 4-hour bar view. So they've crossed, but they've stayed right on. So we'll leave it. If tomorrow they are more fully apart, we'll call that a cold fish. Deal? So the moving average on the 4-hour crossover is our early warning to take part of our profit, and we'll mark it as a cold fish on the chart. STR. You don't have to do it for your studies though. STR, 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, broke above it so nice and just never gave you that chance for it to come back and retest it. There was no second chance for that entry. Now it's blasted up and it's made a pretty nice bowl-shaped formation here. We just need Bitcoin to be taking off, and I think this will be following along with it. And significantly too, it's matched Bitcoin pretty closely all the way along. And I think it's got some rebounding to do. So it stays a hold. Wow. Stratus is a hold for sure. There's another one. Look at this formation. And we saw it here. We saw it here. We saw it develop here. We identified it here. We talked about where it could go from here. And then we traded it. Or we didn't trade it, but we paper traded it. We marked it out. What are we seeing here? Ascending wedge triangle at historically significant levels out of a bottom formation, while the entire world is turning around out of a bottom formation. I'll leave it as an alert, but you know tomorrow it's going to be a hold without any, like, it's coming. Like this one was on an alert for so long, and we watched it and just said alert, it's just an alert, can't go yet. Until it went on its own. So what is the solution for this? Should you be getting in before it goes, or should you put your order above the market and wait for the market to start hitting it before you get into the trade? That's a personal preference. For my own part, I buy. I don't use limit orders. I just buy. I look at the market, how much I have to, and I just put the order in and I just buy it at the market. And then I use rule number 1 and rule number 2 are risk control rules for deciding if I'm going to hold it or not. VTC. Of course, we saw this coming as the bottom formation, we called it, and off it goes, and it's just staging higher and higher. So this is another one that if we are looking at the 4-hour bars, we would have been kicked out of it, may have been kicked out of it here, as it did across there. If we're looking at the 4-hour bars, then the moving averages haven't crossed over at all. They give us lots of time for the prices to move sideways, do their thing, and keep us in so that we are holding this for the entire trend. This is our goal, to hold for the entire trend. There's a lot of nothing to do, and we really have to study hard to know when to stop doing nothing. This is what we're doing now. We're watching for those top formations. Here's one that is actually making a bottom formation. It hasn't finished it yet. It's still neutral, but it could be turned into a bottom formation pretty quick. We're looking at the 12-hour bars, and the moving averages have almost crossed over. We do have a kind of a break of a downtrend line. So if I took these 2 points as our downtrend line, we could say we have a break of that downtrend line. It's pretty sketchy, but close. XEM, bottom formation, down to a number 3, showing some strength, broke out above it, came back and retested it, and showing strength right now. What a beautiful chart. We have so many beauties to choose from. This is a difficulty. This is another beautiful chart. We saw it here, building and building and building. What's it going to do? We have it as a hold here, but I'm going to put it back to just as an alert. It's not looking like it's taking off enough to be bullish. XPM. Look at this bowl shape formation coming in, and there's some volume out of nowhere. So what's going on? I'll leave it as a hold. It's probably going to go straight up and be one of our biggest gainers just because I'm not paying any heed to it properly. Ripple looks terrible when you're looking at Ripple versus Bitcoin. But when you go to Ripple versus US dollar, let's just look at the 3-month view. So we're looking at a similar setup. This is a much better looking chart. Really looking great, where we've got these higher lows slowly getting higher all the way along. All we need now is for it to puncture up above these levels and show us some strength above these bottom formation levels. That would be awesome. So at any rate, when we go back to Ripple versus Bitcoin, it looks terrible. It looks like a near fail. Looks like it's about to just drop down. Zcash. This was down so bad for so long, and now it's pulled up and it's consolidating. We're looking at the 12-hour bar, so that the moving averages haven't come up to cross over yet. I can't put it back to alert status, but it does warrant a neutral. ZRX. Neutral. It's building a new bottom formation there that I like, and it could turn around pretty quickly, but not today. So that did change our chart a little bit. Let's see. I will copy and paste this. How did that happen that we've got, oh, I see. Copy, paste. A little bit less bullish, a little bit more bearish. We got one tick of bearishness come in here. A little bit less bullish. No, well, yeah, that's because the greens dropped down a bit and the yellows stayed flat. So one of them went back to neutral, one jumped to a near fail. And that's why we got our numbers here. Oh, it's the cold fish that jumped in there. I have to double check to be sure cold fish is added into our numbers. Wow. So that's a quick run through of everything. I'm not finding a bunch of top formations in the cryptos that are giving me an indication that the bull run is running out. So I'm surprised to see Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin hesitating so long at this area, making these triangle formations. I'm going to leave them where they are so that I can review them through the day or through the next few hours. Stellar Lumens is looking best of all four of them. Pretty interesting. So there's still lots of room for this to come back and go sideways. We could be watching it for a while. At any rate, do you have any markets you would like me to take a look at? Because they are all pretty much telling the same story, all of them. Some of them have much better looking charts than others, but generally they are looking pretty good. Clam USD is looking pretty good. Let's go Clam. Clam Poloniacs. I know that in our spreadsheet there is this link to this website, CoinTrader Pro. And CoinTrader Pro has changed since I was here. Clams USD. Well, that wasn't hard. So Clams USD, we're looking at the 1 day bar. 1 day. $12-hour. 4-hour. So here's the Clam. Oh, okay. Here's a different Clams chart. Let's see how that's turning out. That fits pretty good. Different Clams chart from Old Scott. Looking at the 12-hour bars. So yeah, it still looks like it's within the uptrend on the 12-hour bars. Like this pullback is nothing compared to the overall trend, for sure. And so part of the strategies are to err on the side, for me anyway, this is my strategy. And it caused, I did the same thing in 2015, and it caused frustration from all the way from January 2015 all the way till September 2015. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, right till the end of September 2015. I was trading this trend following formation, but the markets were choppy. And so I didn't make it nearly as much money as I could have, and probably lost money on that summer because I was trading a trend following formation. A trend following strategy, that is, during a market that was choppy. Take that into account. We could be in choppy markets, and the things that I'm working towards may not work as well as other may not work as well. And for my own part, I'm going to keep my stop losses back and let these markets do these pullbacks and not jump in and out. I'm just going to sit back and let them go. I'm not going to jump out on the crossover of the 4-hour bars. I'm going to review it. I'm going to study it, and I'm going to look at it. But I'm not going to be taking action on those kind of things. So if we go to what just went up that we were looking at, might be a top formation. Loom. So I'm watching for top formations. Lost my train of thought there. Where my stop losses are going to be. Pull back. Let these things take their time. I'm not going to be jumping out on the 4-hour moving bar or crossover. So if I change over to the 4-hour moving average here, when this crosses over, it is an option to be getting out of that trade, and we'll review that day by day as it comes along. We'll review should we have what would have happened if, and we'll do some of those what if scenarios as the markets go along. Now at the beginning I talked about how to put the bulls to work for you. And it's a strategy and an approach that is different than those who would look at the 15-minute bars and make trading choices by the 15-minute bars. It's important to pay attention to the 15-minute bars when you get up to a certain point, but not for trading choices. If you want to put the bulls to work for you, then we're going to look for 1, 2, 3 bottom formations like this. There are still many examples that are great for us where it's breaking the downtrend line, moving averages crossing over, it's breaking out of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Now we take a position and we put our hands under our butt and we don't do anything. Look at the guy in the picture. Where is that picture? Look at this happy guy in the picture. He's not doing anything. Right? He's using this tool and the bulls are doing the work. The bulls are doing the work. So if you put your money in here into this trade, and then you sit back and let the bulls do the work. Let them jump in and out, in and out, in and out, all the way up as it's going. Let them do all that fussing and worrying and freaking out when it's coming up and pulling back here. We got in down here at this moving average crossover. Now we're sitting pretty. We are crossed our hands and we're not doing anything. We're waiting. We got in way down here. We got our stop loss above and we're just waiting because this is going to be a bull market that is unbelievable. That's what I'm leaving room for possibility of. So when we go back to Bitcoin, one trader who I was speaking to was talking about the 5-year view, so that we're looking at the weekly charts, and he says, and I see it, it's nothing to have a candle wick come up to here. Nothing in this chart pattern. It wouldn't take more than 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of something happening in the market and we would be there. It's nothing. So there's a lot of future coming into these markets. I'm pretty bullish. Now at the same time, when a top formation like this happens, I got to pay attention to it. And what I'll be doing is jumping into the indicators. We'll take a look at the on-balance volume. We'll take a look at the RSI, and we'll take a look at the moving average acceleration deceleration, the MACD indicator, the moving average acceleration deceleration. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow morning in the live stream that is on the Bitcoin trading channel on YouTube. So we're still firmly in bull zone. Let's watch this carefully. If all of these start to drop back, then we'll know that a top formation is imminent. We'll know it before it actually happens. This is why I'm doing this, so I don't miss it next time, because I missed it last time, and I believe it cost me $500,000. I don't want to miss it this time. So I'm putting the work in, and you guys are here to keep my nose to the grindstone. So we're staying steady. We're watching carefully. We're keeping this scientific process going day by day, collecting data. We are going to know exactly when to be taking our profits, switching from crypto to fiat, from fiat to gold and silver, from gold and silver to an ETF, and back and forth and all over the place. We're just going to keep it growing and growing. Great to have you guys along. Thank you very much again. Let's make sure that we make some fantastic profits no matter which way these markets are moving. We're not just investors, we are traders. So we want to make money no matter which way the market's moving. Thanks again for watching. Good luck in all of your cryptocurrency trading. Let me find my end screen and bid you all farewell. How would the chart look if you change clams back to hold? Well, because the moving average on the 12-hour bars have not crossed over, clams in one strategy is still a hold. And we'll talk about those different strategies as things are playing out so that we can review them. Right now, I think we're still in the bull zone, even though it's pulled back a little bit. I think that Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Stellar, and everything else is going to be moving up more than the bulls are anticipating. I think this is going to be bigger than people are expecting. Everybody's still calling for downside, and this is going to be the surprise side, how fast and how high it goes. But I could be wrong. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye for now.